All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the February 22nd HAMSI SEQP Telecon. We've got a few topics up today. Ed will do some stuff on our public information, see how he's doing on that. Mary Lou's going to talk about astronomy and ham radio clubs. We've got a ham fest coming up in August. I got a suggestion for a speaker and a few other topics involving the ham side, the workshop, Dayton, and so on and so forth. So Ed, you want to take it from
Yeah,
here?
but Gary, let me just toss it back to you. Why don't you just open with the phone call regarding the league partnership and video regarding
Sure. I got
Eclipse Day.
a very interesting phone call from Bob Inderbitson, the marketing and innovation manager at ARL. And Bob had an idea. It's just an idea at this point, but he was considering sending someone to an event where hams are operating. There's some sort of science activity, whether an astronomy club, a STEM school activity or something, but under the Eclipse path, in the path of totality. They would video that and tie in amateur radio, science, the Eclipse, and so on and so forth, and make a general video for the public afterwards. So we're looking at trying to find some locations where that kind of stuff might be happening.
Yeah.
Gary, are you? So I know I connected them with Case Western as one possibility. Also, are you familiar with these NASA sunspot locations, which are supposed to be along the eclipse, and it's kind of NASA coordinated?
I've probably heard about that. It's a citizen science thing last fall, but yeah, I need a refresher, I guess.
Yeah.
So I just heard about it again this week, right? I hadn't heard the term sunspot for this before, but I spoke with Lisa Winter, who you emailed earlier this week, and she mentioned it to me. And so I don't know exactly where all the sites are, but if you want to email Lisa Winter, find out where those sites are. I think if we're able to put a HAMSI sort of thing, SEQP site, at one of those sunspotter sites, NASA would really appreciate it, and it might help with what Bob is trying to do too.
Yeah, it's good that we just sort of all coordinate this. I know Mary Lou wants to talk a little bit, or I've asked Mary Lou to talk a little bit about the sort of, as we talked about the last couple of weeks, about tying ham clubs together with observatories. But I got off the phone with Sierra Harrop about an hour and a half ago and emailed back to Bill Nathaniels, and I copied you in the loop on that.
Which I saw, yes.
Yeah, and obviously they're going to put it together, but Sierra was pretty versant in the Case Western piece. Okay, so I don't know what that background was, and I know that she'll probably talk to him about that. So,
Okay.
And then obviously we've gotten a couple of others, and I'm looking at Mary Lou here too, is that, Gary, I think you had Champlain, Illinois as a possibility. I saw that in one of the passages.
Right.
And then obviously Binghamton, New York, which is not really on the total path, but slightly off of it. They're already doing something and they're willing to partner, just depending on the circumstances. So, I mean, those are the pieces that are coming together right now. So in terms of actually looking at some science and some video for those days. So, but Mary Lou, maybe it's a good chance to segue over to you, okay, in terms of some of the things that we're looking to build on from the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd like some advice from you folks. Ed and I have put together two things. First, and Mackenzie is helping too, a worksheet of astronomy clubs, more or less in the path of totality, and then in those places also ham radio clubs in the same area. So you'd like to send them a letter, email, saying, we hope you folks can get together. So we've written a letter and we'd like some help on making it really smooth. So let me share my screen. So here's the letter. So far what we would have is dear outreach chairs of ABC Astronomy Club and DEF Radio Club, whatever. We would like to encourage you to cooperate on a joint astronomy radio outreach event for the eclipse coming up in April. The total solar eclipse coming to your area on April 8th, 2024 promises to be one of the science highlights of the decade. Many astronomy clubs are planning to host outreach events in their town or near the center line of totality. However, seeing the eclipse visually might be clouded out by April showers, but that is optically, not at radio frequencies. ham radio operators can still bounce their signals off the ionosphere high above the clouds to communicate with other hams hundreds or thousands of miles away. It is the sun's light which ionizes the upper air and produces the ionosphere. So during a solar eclipse, the ionization lessens and the ionosphere gets weaker and its bottom level gets higher. This change can be observed with amateur radio equipment. At high frequencies, a distant bounce signal fades, but at very low frequency, it strengthens as an absorbing layer weakens. With specialized equipment, such as hamsci.org/eclipse, Grape 1 personal space weather system, you can even observe the changing Doppler shift as the bounce altitude recedes skyward, then returns toward the ground as the moon passes off the face of the sun. Please let us know if you need any help. We hope you have a great eclipse experience and can send us a short report after the event. 73 at FCHAC and Mary Lou West. So what do you think?
I like it.
It's good.
Anybody have any suggestions how to make the letter better? Where'd it go?
Could you go up to the top of it again, Mary Lou?
Say again?
Go up to the top of the letter again, please.
Yep.
The top of it?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, I just want to make sure we had a strong statement of what we wanted them to do up there, but I think we do.
Not too long.
No, it's nice and clear, not overly technical, and it just talks about people getting together. So
Right. And not overtly sales, not overtly sales with a month to go. Right.
You might want to say a little bit more about specifically what we would like them to do. I mean, we're not encouraging them to put together grape stations at this point.
No. Mhm.
No, but I just think that's so cool. I just wanted to get it in there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It would be nice if we could send them to a website that shows some.
Yeah, I
of
was
the
just going to
goals.
add that I think we should probably have that just as a reach again, for further information. Point us to the website.
Yeah.
Do we want to put anything?
So for further info, what website shall we point them to?
hamsci.org/eclipse.
Right there.
/eclipse.
Do you want me to put it again at the end?
It might not hurt and put it in with the HTTPS, just so it's more obvious to a casual reader.
Okay. We'll do that.
Was there anyone else?
but what's our specific ask? Are we suggesting they set up a station there? I might have missed that.
Yeah, let's go back to that. Go back to that first statement again.
A joint event, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we might want to be a little bit more specific on what we're suggesting.
What would you like it to say?
Well, what are some of the things they might do?
I'm wondering if we want to maybe point it a little bit or include the SEQP that there will be like a contest or something. I don't think we need to put a lot in there, but
we ought to refer them to to that and invite them.
because if some clubs are already doing the SEQP, that would be a good tie-in with the astronomy as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, if the weight is on the letter that goes to the club, I think that should be there.
Are we being clear that we're asking them possibly to set up a station and like a field day or a Parks on the Air type of setup? Would that be helpful to
That's better.
Well,
plant that seed?
yeah, that's a little bit of my discomfort. I'm not sure what we're asking them to do or suggesting that they do. There's several things. Participating in the SEQP would be one of them.
Yeah, I mentioned that by name.
And
but also, as we're saying, point them to the website and mention that there are a number of different events that they could participate in. activities.
Yeah, and that's probably the active word. Thanks for that. Because I mean, if you look, I'm just looking here, is that many astronomy clubs are planning to hold outreach events. What we're looking from ham clubs is participation in the SEQP or in
Mhm.
something else. Okay, and obviously, if you can get together with an astronomy club, that's even better from a PR standpoint, and also just general outreach.
Right.
No, this letter does not ask them to do an SEQP.
That's correct.
Ask them. This is a letter to the astronomy club
That's interesting. Okay.
and
Yeah,
the radio club saying,
that's even
Okay, I
better.
didn't
You know,
realize
you
that was not the radio
can-
clubs.
Yeah,
you
we're
can
looking
get
at two
together and
different
do
versions.
whatever you want to do, but you get
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, that's a little different in terms of versionings, and I'm good with
Yes.
doing two versionings on it.
Now, one
Alright.
version, I think, to go to both of them, and at the end, we will have the contact information for each of them with
Yep.
phone numbers.
Right. Are you soliciting suggestions for clubs to contact?
Sure, you got a good one?
Well,
Send it to me.
I know here, what would be in the path is Vermont Astronomical Society.
Yes, I've already hooked them up with a group.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
then the conjugate radio club in the area is RANVI, Radio Amateurs of Northern Vermont,
Okay,
who is having a convention on Saturday. So I will see how they're, if they have any awareness of this, which
Okay.
actually brings me to a quick question about publicity. Do we have?
So David, is one of their in charge people Mitch or Mitchell?
Yeah, Mitch Stern,
Yeah, that one, so,
W1SJ.
the head of the Vermont Astronomical Society, president now, is Jack St. Louis. He's a personal friend of mine, so I
Oh,
told
good.
him about this some time ago. And like 2 weeks ago, he spoke at the meeting where Mitch was in charge, he told
Oh,
me.
very good.
So he's already
Um,
spoken to them.
Yeah, as a member of the Springfield telescope makers, Stellafane, we are not planning an event on site.
I wouldn't think so.
We're
It's
all
too far
going
away.
elsewhere.
Yeah, it's too far away.
A lot of us are going north. I'm probably going north, northern Vermont. A lot of them are going to Texas.
Yeah, a lot of my club are going to Texas too, but I have to go to Vermont, so maybe we
Yep.
could get together.
Right. We also have an ARES Amateur Radio Emergency Service event. Apparently, we've been called out for northern New Hampshire to cover communications because they're expecting things to go down. Whether they do or not doesn't matter.
What does that mean?
What?
Things to go down. That
They
sounds like
don't.
a gang
They-
rumble.
Our take is they don't know. They just know it's an eclipse.
Okay.
And they don't know if anything's going to happen communications wise or not, but they want things covered.
Okay, well, I hope they join the SEQP or something. All right, so I'll put
Good.
something in, another sentence at the end, saying something like, for further information, or for further radio information, see https hamsci.org/eclipses, where you can see other activities, other possible
Yeah.
activities or something like that.
I
Is that
think you
okay?
did invite them to send pictures, didn't you?
Yes, send a
Yeah.
report.
Well, this is good. I'm glad we did this. So.
Yeah,
Miss West, I have a question.
Go ahead.
yep.
So just to clarify, this letter is only for the astronomy clubs, right?
No, it's for both. It says, Dear
for both.
Outreach Chairs of Astronomy Club and Radio Club.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah,
that
We
now.
would like to encourage you. So it's for both groups, and it is to introduce
Okay,
Yeah,
to
this
each
goes
other.
back the
So-
last couple of weeks where we're looking to get groups to partner with each other.
right.
Okay,
So
we've
this
seen
is
some
for
good
both.
examples. Sorry. Mhm.
This is for both the clubs and the radio clubs and astronomy clubs. So are you only looking for both in the path of totality, or do you want other clubs that are close to it but not exactly in the path?
They could do either.
Either. Okay.
Yes,
So-
it says here, many astronomy clubs are planning to host outreach events in their town or near the center line of totality.
Yep.
But their
Right,
town could
okay.
be anywhere,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, I think
there
the
are
focus would be
places-
on, focus would be on the center line, Mackenzie. I mean, examples
Okay.
here in West Palm Beach, where the club is participating, but Cox Science Center, I mean, it's too far off for them to do a public event. So, they're letting the club do it on the Cox grounds, but they may not be, an active participant in terms of a viewing event. So there's nothing to see from where they are. So.
Okay, thank you for the
Okay.
clarification.
Mhm. No, this was good. Thank you all.
Okay,
Makes it a lot better. So Mackenzie, I might be reaching out to you this weekend as I finish this up. So after I see Mary Lou's draft.
I have a quick question regarding publicity. I
Sure.
could
Mhm.
use the business cards for SEQP and that, but clearly you don't have time to send them. I could easily print them out. Do we have a template?
Yeah, David, I've got a PDF that we used in the printer. So, but I mean,
Okay.
I've got them. Well, I'm going to get them back in a couple of days from Ed. Do you need me to send you some or?
Well, no, see, I'd like to have some for Saturday.
Oh, okay. I'll
Okay.
send
But
you the
I
PDF.
have the standard business card scored sheets. If you have
Okay.
a PDF that I could print.
We'll do after the meeting. No problem.
Thanks.
Sure, sure. Ed, I guess it's still on your topic.
Yeah, let me just run. I know I'm watching time here. Just in terms of other items, just in terms of podcasts, we're looking to set something up, and I'm looking here now at Gary and Nathaniel with Tank Radio. This was a guy that we ran into at Hamcation. Okay, apparently he's got a decent sized audience from one just in terms of poking around. He's looking at March 31st. If either of you might be available, okay. So just take a look at your calendars and see if we can figure something out for that.
March 31st.
March 31st. Yeah, it's about as close as we've come so far.
And
About
who
a
is
Sunday
this?
night.
Yeah, it's a
Who
Sunday
is this
night.
for?
It's called Tank Radio. I can send you the link. It's Tank Radio Podcast. It's a younger demo in terms of hams. So
Okay, I think March 31st is Easter. Right?
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not available
Okay.
that day.
Well, I am, so that's not a problem.
Okay. All right. So let me see if I can follow there. The other thing we're looking at is Rat Pack. Okay, because with Marlar is that we have not done anything there. Gary's going to sort of do like a quick review here, in terms of looking at Marlar. And I mean, I know him casually, but I don't know him that well. But I think we could make an approach, and I think he probably, if he's got some time to free up, perhaps he can do something with us ahead of time. So, and then obviously we've got ICQ schedule and we got on the air schedule too in terms of other pieces. So,
And I'm just, yeah, Steve,
yeah, just
Go
other
ahead.
things, just really quickly, I guess, in terms of outreach, there's post right now on Newsline and QRZ, just regarding if you're looking for a presentation, just sort of a follow-up on that. Also, we're going to get a story into amateur radio Newsline in the next couple of days. I spoke to the guy up in Maine the other day, and he's looking for a story on it, so we'll follow through with that. And then just in terms of other outreach, I'm looking here, Nick probably would know Paul Walker up in Alaska, who's probably probably an SWL or AMDX or influencer. And Paul said that he would help us, sort of move just information about what we're doing and any interest in terms of, any monitoring activities, along on his groups as well. And just looking, just other things here. And I'm going to probably come back and say I probably forgot some things, but observatories we talked about. Yeah, I guess. And Nathaniel, do you have, if I say DX engineering, what do you say?
What about DX engineering?
Yeah,
Do we
do we have any formal relationship with them at all? Or we partnered with them? I know some station equipment.
I wouldn't say we have a formal relationship with them. We have a good relationship with them.
Okay. Do you think that they might be willing to give us, like, if I send them copy, that they might be able to move something on the website? Or would you find
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I think you could if you want to because they've interviewed me for their blog before. I've done multiple podcasts with Tim Duffy.
Yeah.
I've even done one when we were in Alabama. I did one from Alabama, from the U.S. Space and Rocket Center, right before the Hamsa workshop. So I think they'd be very happy to support.
That would be great. Yeah, and the other piece that just what triggered it too was just sort of walking around the booths, at Hamcation. And MFJ does that sort of weekly blurb, that they sort of put out. It's sort of light and folksy, just sort of
Mhm.
what's going on. Is that it may not hurt, just to, if we can send them some copy, they might be able to work it in. Because obviously, you get a lot of hams that are looking for, for equipment, and it's a different site and a different reach, in terms of
Yeah.
just talking about things. So
Hey,
I'll follow with that. So,
Hey, Ed,
yeah, go ahead.
they
Ron.
also have a DX Engineering newsletter that they send out with things like that in it. So
Okay,
that would be
so I'll
another
reach out to
option.
Tim. That's a good point. Okay, and I'd sort of missed that. So, done.
Have you contacted W1DED?
Yes, I have. Okay, and that's sort of work in progress. Okay, thank you for that. Just a reminder there. So, yeah, it's just the only other piece that came up was, and I'm looking for my business card here, is that Gary and I met a guy, AC4SH, Claude Ray, who's in Athens, Georgia, but he was talking. He's a big POTA guy, and he mentioned the fact that the 2 days prior to the eclipse, 6th and 7th, that there's a statewide POTA activation in Virginia and in Georgia. And then lo and behold, I found out that there's also a statewide activation that weekend in Florida. And so I guess Nathaniel, when I reached out to KA2YRA on Binghamton, he turns out that he knows AC4SH, and he was going to follow up to see if there were any more states that were doing activations, because Claude's point is that if you're going to do 2 activations on Saturday, Sunday, why not do another one and do it, for Hamside, which I thought is a really interesting point, and it's coming from a guy, who's got no vested interest in terms of what we're doing right now. So I thought that was
Right.
pretty good. And it also sort of gets around, I know we approached the POTA people early on prior to October, and there was, I guess, a little reticence, for lack of a better word, because they tried to partner with other associations, and it has not gone so well. So, for me, I guess I'm looking if we can do something that's more on the stealth, or under the radar, have POTA members actually do the promotion for us and get the word out. That might be a good way to do it. So actually, YRA has lent us some good offices. He said he's going to do some other investigations regarding other states because he's the New Jersey coordinator, as luck would have it. So, so nevertheless, I mean, we'll see what we can put together there, in short
Hey, Ed,
notice. Yes, Mackenzie, go ahead.
I was just about to mention the POTA situation. Would you like me to go ahead and start posting on the POTA social medias about the
Yeah,
SCQP?
if you can do it discreetly, how's that, for lack of a that type
Discreetly,
of thing.
okay.
Yes, yeah, so that we don't call too much attention. It's not overtly ham side. It's coming from POTA people, to activate that type of thing. I think that would be the approach to take. So,
Okay.
'cause I don't want to create any bad relationships that way. So, but if we can get POTA members, talking about doing activations on the 8th and mentioning the eclipse, I think that's a great thing to do. So. Otherwise, I know I'm going to probably forget something, but I think that's about it. So over to you, Gary, AF8A.
Okay, very good. Just an idea I had since we're all together. I know the folks from, and I forget the name of the Hamfest, Boxborough, Marlborough, whatever it is, it's in August. Stan KD1LE spoke there last year, and they've invited us to come back and speak again this year. My thought is approach the New England Grape Group. They're going to be doing their talk at the Hampside workshop. I would think they could probably rework that, and one of the guys could represent that at Boxborough. Maybe a little bit more general interest than so scientific, but that was my thought for there. I don't know if anybody's got any other ideas and who might want to speak there too.
Yeah, it's called Ham
Hamvention.
Exposition. Ham Exposition, and it's in Marlborough, Mass.
Okay.
Not Boxborough anymore.
Yeah, never been to any of them, so the boroughs are all the same to me. Okay. Anyhow, that was my thought, is inviting the New England Grape Group guys to do their, since they're putting the work into it and creating it for the workshop, I think they could reuse it again. Okay. We talked a couple of times about having a Hamside SEQP, a kind of a Zoom roundtable before the event. And we've talked about, we've never really nailed down any dates or times. We talked about doing it once versus twice. I just wanted to decide if we want to do it, fine. If we don't, I'll take it off the agenda, but I didn't want to let it drop if there was still a lot of interest in it.
May I?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of the proponent, so I think I still will be. Is that most of our outreach has been to clubs. Obviously, there's a larger percentage of hams, that don't belong to clubs, or maybe not necessarily get the word if it's coming through clubs, for, in terms of outreach. So I think, if we could do at least one general, just, sort of, presentation as to what it's about, at least it gives us an opportunity to talk to people who are not necessarily in a club setting. So, and I know Mackenzie, you were looking for a date last week, okay, that we could sort of get something on the calendar so we could move ahead on it. So, but I mean, selfishly, I think it's good for us, to at least try it once and see how many people show up as well too, as a measure of interest. So,
Well, one of the things I'm interested in, and the reason that I'm here, is which of the entry categories for the SEQP gives us the most bang per buck? Okay, we got, I think it's 10 hours. I can do SEQP, calling CQ on CW, FT8. I can do a WSPR just receive. I can do WSPR transmit receive. Of the three things, which gives the most data points to be used?
I would think FT8.
FT8?
If you're going to do, yes, if you're looking to maximize the number of data points and participate in the SCQP, I think FT8 would be the one that would give us the most data points.
Because it also had the SPR transmit on just looking at it seemed to provide the most bang for the buck.
I think either way, either Whisper or FT8, but Whisper isn't really Whisper is
It's the Gladstone signal spotting challenge,
right.
the other event.
Whisper is more of a different thing than the Solar Eclipse QSO party because
Okay.
it's not. Whisper is not really a two-way communication.
Correct.
And FT8 is. So FT8 is a two-way communication that's part of the SEQP that will give us the most data points.
Okay. That answered that.
Thanks.
All right, good. Yeah, I'm glad you came here and asked. That's exactly what we're here for. Okay, so getting back to our roundtable discussion. I mean, I'd be willing to participate, obviously, and help answer people's questions, just as Dennis raised here. Ed, I'm sure you'd want to be there.
yep.
When do we know when we'd want to have it?
A couple of weeks before the eclipse, you think?
Yeah. Just,
Yeah.
you don't want to be too far out, but I think you probably want to
Yeah.
be like about 2 weeks out if we can. So that puts us it's the week around Case. I think we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
And
I
obviously
think
stay away from Easter. So yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think my responsibilities for organizing the Hamsci workshop are and teaching classes and everything, it's really starting to pile on. So I'm not sure that I personally want to commit to being there, but I am all for having one of these. If you think you can have one on your own without me committing to being there, I would be all for it.
Okay.
No, I think we should do it. That's fine. That's perfectly understandable. And I think it's the rest of us need to carry some of the load. So let's do it.
Oh, you're carrying lots of load. Don't worry.
Just pick out of the top of my head the week of March 25th. That would be 2 weeks before the.
Yeah, that's probably close enough, right? Hold on. Yeah. Wednesday night in the middle of the week, 27th.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Okay. Yep.
Mackenzie,
if you're coming
would
back
you
from
be able
Cleveland,
to
yeah.
sit up? She had to take off, I bet. Yep, after 4:30.
27th. Yep.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. We know what to do from here. Okay, good. Well, we'll put together an agenda just so if people ask questions, that's great. If they don't have questions, we'll have an agenda. We can keep things moving. And if it lasts a half an hour, fine. If it lasts an hour,
Yeah.
that's fine too. So, okay. Wonderful. That's something I can put together and add in a website, and then Mackenzie can move it too. So that's
Yep.
a double plus.
Probably look much like the Hamcation presentation, I would think, so.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Just a note on the SEQP scoring from back in October. We've got 2 people working on the scores. Adarsh, his call is KN6VIS. He's making pretty good progress. He and I have been going back and forth and making little updates and corrections here and there. I think he's working on figuring out the eclipse path calculation. So based on participants' grid squares, whether or not they're under the path of totality. So I give him a lot of credit for doing that. And also Kyle, KG6BXW, is kind of doing the same scoring in parallel. So we can bounce their answers off one another, make sure we've got a way to double check ourselves.
Do you know how Adarsh is doing the Eclipse calculation?
He told me he had found some of your code. I know you guys had talked about it at some point, and he said some of the libraries or some of the commands have been deprecated, so he's been trying to work around that.
Okay, but he is using my code.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's good working with him. He's learning, and he's responsive, and he's willing to listen. So he's been a great asset. All right. A couple of things on the HAMSci workshop worth mentioning. The program committee met on Tuesday of this week, and I think Nathaniel, as he said, has got with the committee, he's got the program pretty well hammered out. So that'll be going up on the website in the next, hopefully, week or so. One of the things in particular I wanted to mention, because it's relevant to this group, Ed, N3ED, it suggested kind of a breakout forum, just basically asking the question, how can ham radio further ionospheric research? And it's kind of funny that he came up with that, because we kind of discussed the same thing a little bit in October, kind of what's up for HAMSci, what projects might we want to get into after the eclipse. And that's come up a few times. And then Ed's going to have like I said, this forum at the workshops. We'll have a lot of people together there and hopefully formulate a lot of ideas. So I thought that was pretty timely on his part to suggest that. Okay. The other thing, I'll share my screen here. I know Ward's not here today, but we owe a debt of gratitude to YASME, the organization that Ward is currently president of. But they sent us a nice letter and also a grant in support of the booth rental and all the expenses for the booth at the Hamvention in May. They've done this a number of years in a row. You come to the booth, you'll see the YASME sign saying in there, and that's part of the reason why. But a nice thing is it's a part of YASME's mission to promote the development of amateur radio, particularly among young people involved in STEM programs and professional research activities. So we're obviously right in their wheelhouse. So it was very nice of them to do that for us again this year. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, so last week, again, talking about citizen science and where we may want to go a little bit. Last week, I attended a Zoom call on citizen science topics, sponsored by NASA, the CITSI people, Mark Kuchner and Sarah. I forget Sarah's last name.
Sarah Kern.
Yeah, Sarah Kern. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And one of the discussion topic was cleansing of crowdsourced data. I know that's really not a thing for us right now. We don't have people looking at our data and trying to pull out, look for TIDs or other phenomenon in grape data or things like that. But they talked about a tool called Drafty, D-R-A-F-T-Y, that, what's his name? Sean Wallace at Rice University has developed. Instead of just putting like a big Google sheet up on the web somewhere with lots of data in there that people can go in and change and modify and potentially resort and cause other issues and stuff with, it's kind of more of a controlled environment. So anyhow, again, thinking along the lines of where HAMSci may go if we ever need that sort of input from citizen scientists, we should probably keep that software package in mind. So anyhow, it's kind of sort of relevant. Let's see. Anything else anybody wants to bring up? I'm about to the end of my agenda, I think.
I have a question. If I'm
Sure,
getting
Dave.
Dave, W2HMT. I read the mail here occasionally and love what you're doing. I go back a long time to 1963, the very first Eclipse with radios along. But anyway, especially appreciate the comments about Whisper versus FT8, and also the comments about needing observations close to the eclipse day, the day before, day after, and around that time for comparison for database. A question though, on Whisper. I've been playing around with the Whisper light on 20 meters and seeing remarkably consistent results over a 10-hour period, day one to day two, including the same receivers receiving me day after day and coming up in intensity and going down. And it seems to me that the quantitative consistency of having the same receivers and the same locations might be helpful over a period of like 5 days, 2 days before and the day of and 2 days after, especially if old Sol doesn't belch out X-rays or hot protons or something at the wrong time like they did back in 17. But I don't know whether the beacons can saturate. I don't know whether if instead of counting spot numbers, you were looking for data on intent on signal levels, whether you'd run into problems with if a lot of people are on an eclipse day compared to other days, whether the beacons are going to get saturated and you're not going to get as many counts, as many hits. Has anybody thought about that or looked into that? Whether saturation could be a problem in trying to generate the data sets.
I've had a Whisper site up for a couple of weeks now, VE3WUE, and it's receive only. And I've had as many as 80 decodes in 1 2-minute period.
Okay.
I don't know how much higher it goes. FT8, I've had about 120 decodes in one cycle is the most I've ever seen. And other people regularly report 100 on FT8. And of course, if you remember, they had to change the software because they didn't allow that many decodes in one session. If it passed 99, it crashed the program. So I'm confident with a relatively good computer that WSPR should be able to handle over 100 without a problem. Hopefully
that's enough. I don't
Yes.
know, but plateau, and then if you're counting spots or doing things like that, you get an aberration if there are too many people on the eclipse day compared to reference days.
Yeah, and if you're using a fairly recent software, it shows you down at the bottom how many decodes you had.
Yeah.
What's the difference in the frequency spread? I mean, obviously in FT8, you've got a couple of kilohertz bandwidth where people are spread out in. Is the same true for Whisper? I mean, you can't all be on the same frequency, I hope.
Well, you are on the same frequency, but I understand it takes 3 or 4 cycles for each thing, and you've got 200 cycles. So even with that, I still see 80 decodes. Not often, but I've seen it before. I don't know how it does it all, but you've got it's 1,500 cycles. It's all set frequency on Whisper. And then you have 100 cycles plus or minus. So you
No,
get
your
200.
offset is 1,500, but it's a band of frequencies. There are multiple frequencies used.
Right, but it's always between 14 and 1,600
That's right.
on that offset.
Well, it's called spread spectrum, and they
Yeah.
can decode multiple carriers on those frequencies. Talk to Joe Taylor about it. He's the one who figured it out.
Yeah, one of the Gladstone things that I saw, as Dave mentioned, it's very easy to set up a receive and just let it receive the whole time period. And that stuff is automatically uploaded, and you can also bounce around from frequency to frequency with the I forget what they call it, the hopper,
Mhm.
the frequency hopper. You can change frequencies. And so if you go and look at VE3WUE on the whispernet.org, you can see the folder in 24 hours. You can see every band except right now for 80 for a technical reason. You can see every band but 80 have spots on there.
I'm jealous because I only have a single frequency, single band antenna, but that's wonderful.
Well, it's fun. It's fun to watch the band open up to Europe every morning.
Well, for receive, just about any antenna is going to be multi-band.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be matched.
True. Yeah, I'm
And
always
it'll
thinking
certainly work
transmitting,
on
David,
our
'cause you're right.
So yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that's very easy to do, set up a whisper receiver. Of course, that's what Rob Robinette's setting up.
And that gives you data. It's an easy way to accumulate a fair amount of data.
Yeah, we've already got that online.
Good.
No, I know there was the spot files that come out for the 10-hour contest, just for the 10-hour contest, are in the millions of lines nowadays. A lot of that, of course, is thanks to FT8, but it's fun to go through those things and see how much activity there really is. But having control data for 4 or 5 days before and both after is obviously very important too. So,
Yeah.
Okay, good discussion. Anything else? All right. Like I said, I think I covered everything I had brought up or brought with me on the agenda. Thanks everyone for bringing your ideas, asking questions, and participating in general. So, if there's nothing else, we'll call it a wrap and get ready for dinner, I suppose. At least here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
All right, everyone.
Very good. Gary, I look forward to the business card PDF.
Yeah, I've got what format would be best for you, David? I've got a PDF and Apple Pages, or I can put it into a Word doc too.
Word is easy to manipulate.
Okay,
Send me PDF
I'll
in the
export
Word.
it. Okay, it's a deal.
Thanks.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, and see some of you on the air, I hope.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it.
73 all.
Good night.
73.
73.
Bye.